So today we're going to check out this drive pedal that's part of the fundamental line from Walrus Audio. And this is a line of pedals that's intended to be kind of simple to use, easy for whether you're an experienced player or a new player, just kind of easy to get in and to figure out. So you can see the controls are pretty straightforward. You've got input and output on top. The power's on the side here, which I don't love. If you were trying to fit this onto a tight pedal board, that might be an issue, getting power to it. So that's one thing that's not my favorite. But the controls at top are pretty straightforward. You've got sliders rather than knobs, which seems a little gimmicky to me, but it works fine. And then you've got a three-way switch that switches between the modes of the overdrive. And we'll talk about that in a second. But your sliders control gain, tone, and volume. And all three do what you expect them to do. One thing I'll say about this pedal is the gain and the volume aren't as interactive as on some other pedals that I've used. Some overdrive pedals, as you turn up the gain, it boosts the volume as well, and you need to kind of work the two knobs together. This one, they're pretty much separate. The gain is the gain and the volume is the volume. So you can crank the gain all the way up, and you're not really adding tons of volume. It gets a fuller sound, but it doesn't necessarily push the volume a lot. And the tone is just what you expect it to do. Just kind of add more treble or pull the treble away. So the three modes, you've got smooth, crunch, and bright. You control those by this little switch here. There's three positions of the switch. So there's details on the Walrus Audio website that talk about these different modes, and one being soft clipping and then adding hard clipping and things like that. I think of them this way, and this is maybe a overly simplistic way to think about it, but to me the smooth mode is kind of that cranked Fender sound. It's very warm and rounded. It's just kind of nice and full. When you go into crunch mode, that's a little more kind of vintage Marshall-y. You got a little more top end bite to it. It's pushing some more low end as well. So you're getting kind of that big, thick, kind of Marshall-y kind of sound. And to me, the bright switch is more of that kind of Vox kind of thing. So it's kind of sparkly and it has a lot of glassiness to it. But one thing that's different is the mid-range on this one is a little more scoop. So we'll hear that in a second too. So in general, I think of them as kind of Fender Marshall Vox. And that's maybe an easy way to think about it. So let's go ahead and compare the three modes. So I'm just going to move everything to halfway. So if these were dials, this would be like putting everything at noon. And for this demo, I'm playing a Strat style guitar with a humbucker in the bridge. And I'm playing through my Neural DSP Quad Cortex, and I have a kind of basic amp model preset using a Mesa Boogie Lone Star. It sounds like this. So a real just kind of straight ahead, almost at edge of breakup, a great kind of pedal platform preset. And this is what I use for testing all of the pedals that I do on this channel. So let's go ahead and gauge this. We're in the smooth mode. And again, everything's at halfway. And I'm on the neck pickup. So you can hear it's that nice kind of warm, rounded. It's just a nice overdrive. If I go to the bridge, you can hear, even on the bridge, you're not getting a lot of pokiness to this. It's like that smooth, rounded overdrive. If I switch to the crunch, you can hear it gets a little more aggressive. So like I said, to me it sounds a little more Marshall-y there, like a cranked plexi kind of thing. And then the bright mode, you can hear there's a lot more chiminess. And not quite as much gain as on the crunch mode. If we go to the neck pickup, that glassiness really kind of comes through. In fact, on this mode, I'm more likely to kind of drop the tone just a little bit. So that's a taste of all three modes. Let's go back to the smooth mode. So one thing about this pedal is you can put the gain all the way down and use it kind of as a boost. And it's not a transparent boost. The character of each type is still shining through, even though you're not really pushing any gain. So here's the smooth. So you can hear it's boosting the signal. And that's pushing the amp model on the quad cortex into some drive. If I was to bring the volume down, you can hear there's a character difference there. It's tweaking the EQ a little bit, taking away some of that top end that the Lone Star usually has. If I switch to the crunch, you'll hear there's a pushing a little bit more, and you're getting more low end. And that, again, that's pushing the Lone Star into more breakup. And then if I go to the brights, you can hear that scooping it out, putting that chime in. So what that's showing is that the drive character isn't just in the sound of the drive from the pedal, it's in the EQ settings, even when you're just using it as a boost. So let's go ahead and go back to the smooth, and let's check out, I'm going to leave the volume up a little bit, leave the tone at halfway, and let's go ahead and put the drive at about 25%. And let's try it at 75%. And let's crank it all the way. So you can hear it keeps that nice kind of smooth, rounded tone, not a lot of bite to it, not a lot of kind of top end. It can get a little muddy maybe when you're pushing it that much, but it's just a nice warm overdrive. So if we go ahead and switch to the crunch and we drop it back down to about 25%. Try 75%. And go all the way. And so I think in crunch mode like this, with the drive all the way up, this is the maximum amount of gain you're going to get out of this pedal. So you can hear it's not really a high gain sound. This is more of kind of a cranked Marshall, kind of 70s classic rock kind of tone. If we go to the bright, I'm going to go ahead and bring the tone down just a tad. Crank it all the way. So even with the chiminess on this one, when you give it that much gain, it starts to kind of fill in and get a little warmer to my ear. So overall, I think this is a really good flexible overdrive. It is, to my ear, more of a kind of an amp in the box kind of overdrive. It's not so much a transparent overdrive that's going to kind of preserve the character of the amp you're playing through. This is more, you're going after a certain tone, and there's a lot of kind of classic rock kind of tones in here. If you're looking for a high gain or a metal kind of thing, this is not the pedal for you. But if you want that kind of mid gain to 70s classic rock kind of thing, I think this does it pretty well. And you can do different flavors of that. I do like the smooth and the crunch quite a bit. The bright is very specific. I wish it was maybe a little less scooped. I wish maybe it had a little bit more mids to it. It gets a little, on the single coils, it gets a little too empty in the middle. But I get what they were going for, and I think overall it sounds pretty good, especially with humbuckers, it sounds better. But the other ones sound really good. They're nice and smooth. They don't get harsh at all. So overall, I think this is a very good pedal for the money. So I think these pedals are about $100. So they're not super expensive. They're kind of a good, I think, a mid-level drive pedal. And I think if you're looking for a kind of classic overdrive, I think this pedal will do pretty well. And there's a lot of flexibility here. So if that's what you're looking for, I would encourage you to check it out. And I hope you found this video helpful. And thanks for watching.